Can't get it.
Oh, crap. Hold on. What did I do here?
I'm gonna pull the whole thing down. I'm gonna bring the whole fucking diseased, corrupt temple down on your head. It's gonna be biblical.
Hello everyone, welcome to another edition of Patriots Across the Pond and Friends. This is episode 65 of our Tuesday show, and we have got a wonderful panel of guests today, focusing around Elisa Schermerhorn, her new book, We Are Quantum. I just want to do this little read. What if the body, the mind and consciousness were working together in ways we never thought, we were never taught to understand? We Are Quantum is a collection of powerful, real-life stories from doctors, healers and thought leaders on the front line of human potential who have experienced and witnessed transformation that challenges everything we think we know. These are not just authors on a page. These are real people with extraordinary stories, lived experiences and perspectives that challenge what you think is possible. Lisa created this space for you to meet them, not just as writers, but as humans, to hear what shaped them, what broke them, and what transformed them. Welcome everyone to the show.
Welcome. Oh my God. Thank you so much for having us. It was such a thrill to meet you guys in New York. We had so much fun with you. And it's when I got to meet Chris as well.
Yeah, no, it's a wonderful time, wasn't it? Elisa and I have met Lisa and Chris before, but we've got Laurie Falk, Liz Perkins and Lisa Williams. So it's lovely to meet you ladies. Potentially we've got another couple of people coming in, but we're just going to have a really lovely chat and see how it goes. Elisa?
Yeah, Lisa, I would love you to just start by possibly holding up the book, because what kind of ties everyone together on this show today, obviously, is their contribution to the book, We Are Quantum. And that is what, I didn't have a chance because I only just got my copy to read it. But I noticed, just for the readers to, the viewers to understand, it's broken into different sections where everybody has a section that they wrote and they talk about. So that's why, this show is going to be so great, because we're going to get to hear from some of the people and tell us a little bit about their contribution. So tell me what the inspiration was like for this whole project.
So what happened was, during COVID, I was trained in a particular type of healing. It was called the quantum healing, to help people heal, particularly from people who are vaccine injured. And I did the training. And what happened was, I was talking to a friend of mine who's a functional medicine specialist. And she said to me, I said, how do I prove that this is doing anything? Because it's one thing when someone does energy work on someone, it's very anecdotal. And she said, well, there's something called dark field microscopy, and where they can actually take a drop of your blood and you can see your blood in real time on a screen. So I said, that would be amazing. I'd love to do this. And then I found out it was illegal in the state of Vermont. And I'm like, it's illegal to look at your own blood?
Wow.
And it's called Practicing Medicine Without a License. So they didn't want people to know what was going on in their blood. I found someone, her name is Jennifer Allen, who lives down in Florida, who was willing to be my first guinea pig because I had no idea. I want to preface this, I have no science background whatsoever. If you saw my grades in school, you'd understand. I didn't know any of this. So what happened for me was she was willing to go and have her blood checked. She had to get vaccinated because her daughter was very sick in the hospital. They thought she was dying. And the only way the hospital would let her in is if she got vaccinated. So she did it against her will, but she needed to be there for her daughter. And
So
she had,
amazing.
I know, and she had symptoms afterwards. So we had her blood checked. It was something called rouleau, and there's actually pictures of her blood in the book, in her chapter. She contributed as well, which is, it looks like coins stacked on each other versus they should be round and circular, moving around. We
The
did
red blood cells. Yeah.
Yes, her red blood cells. So we ended up doing the quantum healing after, and then she went back a week later and her blood was completely different and her symptoms were gone.
Wow.
So I started doing this quantum healing, and my daughter, who wasn't very awake, said, "What the heck is a quantum healing?" And I thought, how am I going to explain this? I'm not going to go, I've read quantum physics, I understand it, but it wouldn't mean anything. I said, you know what? Through story, because quantum is really everything. Quantum is a mindset. We can heal ourselves. We can create whatever we want. And I thought, I have so many amazing people in my life who have incredible stories. And I thought, let me ask if people would want to be part of it. So I was in the movie Zero Limits with Dr. Joe Vitale, and I asked him if he would be willing to be in it. And he was. No one, I think I had one person turn me down. And it got to a point where I slipped Chris in at the last minute. I was just getting into the format. I met him, and Joe Rosati and Barry were like, ask him. So I did, and gave him 1 week to write his chapter. So he was very gracious to add in. So Liz is also trained in that exact same healing. She started doing that healing as well. And Lori, I met, we were at an event at the inauguration a year and a half ago. And we were at a ball, and we actually had a ball too, but she has an extraordinary background. She was one of Hay House's top, what do you want to say, vendors?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So she channels angels and as an artist, and the frequency goes into her work and heals people through art. And she's also involved in another company called Find Your Mentor. Lisa is a dear friend of mine, and she's also gotten into Reiki, but I loved her perspective of her life story. And I wanted everyone to be relatable. And part of what Lisa talks about is, I'm not necessarily done yet. Like this is my life story, but I'm still work in progress because I wanted people to know that that's okay. And she has a beautiful story as well. So, and Chris, for people who don't know, he's written a beautiful book, Man of Mimos. He is part of the secret space program. He brought back this incredible technology, the Deems device, which I have. And so these are just a few of the 36 authors that are part of this book.
Wow. And can I ask you, how long did it take you to do this project? Because that's a lot to coordinate.
A lot longer than my first book.
Okay.
My first book, In Every Belief is a Lie, took me 5-6 months. This one took me over a year because it's like herding cats. And actually, a lot of it was my own fault because I kept adding people. I'm like, this person is so cool. I have to add them to my book. And finally, I got yelled at. And when the book was completed, when it was printed, it was the initial printing was 330 pages, and now we've increased the font. It's now like 440 pages. It's like an encyclopedia.
Yeah, but you know what? I want to make a comment, as an avid reader. What I like about it is, and tell me if I'm wrong, it's not like a story that you have to read from cover to cover. So
No.
depending on your, like, where you're guided, like I may want to read Lisa's part, and then I may want to jump to Chris's part, and then I want to, like it's broken up in such a beautiful way that you could kind of go where you want in terms of like how you read it to read the whole book.
Yes.
It's not like I'm on page 30 and I have 300 pages left. Like it feels very like something you'd keep by the bed and read like different sections.
That's been the main comment, is that people say they just pick up the book and open up to whoever, and it's exactly what they needed that day.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. I just want to say, I heard you say in the previous interview that you could have just gone and on and on and added more people and more, and you just had to draw the line, didn't you? And the fact that you've got 36 authors in there is very significant as well, because that's your 369 and the mysteries of the universe.
Yes.
Interesting.
Exactly. So I don't know if you want, I'd love for each of our panelists to tell a little bit about their stories. And the other thing that I did is on my website, on the page We Are Quantum, if you go under books, We Are Quantum, I interviewed all of the authors. So there's an interview for each person. So if you want to know more about each of these amazing people, you've got the interviews on the We Are Quantum on my website, lisamindset.com.
Oh, that's great to know.
Yeah.
Terrific.
Yeah. And in the book, there's a QR code that takes you right there.
Sometimes we don't like technology, but sometimes it's really great, right?
Exactly.
So, Stu, you know what? I don't know how the screen looks, but maybe we'll start with Lori and go across. And
yeah, fine.
Okay. So, Lori, why don't you tell us about your contribution, your story, all that?
I'd love to. Thank you so much. As Lisa said, my chapter is Art as a Quantum Healing Tool. But here's the secret. I'm just a normal girl from the Midwest who had no desire to ever be an artist. I was divinely guided again and again and again to draw. So this was the message. I was channeling angels at the time. I was totally into everything spiritual. I just graduated from the School of Spiritual Psychology.
Can I ask where you like approximate age, like where this happened? Because I think that's so important, because a lot of people think you get, you have to know by the time you're 20 what you're going to do.
No way. I went to school for marketing and fashion merchandising and ended up having a trade publication for executives in the retail fashion industry. And I woke up at the ripe old age of, let's say 30 something. And I said, hemlines go up and hemlines go down. And if I have to write another story about fashion, I might die. Honestly, it was just like, I didn't have it in me. It just, what I had wanted to be a therapist or a psychologist when I was 16. But I come from a very, very, very blue collar family where I was supposed to get married and have babies, and I could be a secretary, a nurse, or a teacher. That was it. Nothing else. So the compromise was this fashion merchandising insanity. I wanted to help people on the inside, and here I am dressing people. Oh my God.
Interesting.
Yeah, very. So it was my late 30s actually, and I had a dark night of the soul. I literally was on my hands and knees asking God to show me what I was here for. And then I was led to the School of Spiritual Psychology, got a degree in that, and was totally fascinated with everything spiritual and psychological, and ended up becoming a life coach, which I loved. Thought I had found my life purpose, my passion, my reason for being. And then I'm getting these messages to draw. Wow. And that's all they said was, draw, Lori, please draw. I'm like, draw what? So one day I just said, fine. And I said, if you want to do this, this better be important because I'm a type A Capricorn. It's the middle of the business week. And I think this is really crazy. And then I shut up and I was guided. It was like taking automatic dictation with pastel chalks. They told me what colors to use, what to put on the page, where to put it. I had no idea what I was doing. And I got done with the first one in like 45 minutes. And I was like, oh my God. I showed it to a friend and she said, that's exquisite. And she said, what's it going to take for you to really pay attention to this? I said, I have no idea. She said, I do. I'm going to pay you to make one for me because then it'll make sense to you, type A Capricorn personality. So she did. She came the next day and I drew one for her and she started crying when it was done. She was so moved by it. And I just started noticing the impact that it had on people. Sometimes my clients would call and they'd say, this painting is changing. And I knew they were changing. So the way they perceived it was changing, but they thought it was changing. It was changing them. Eventually what I learned was that the art is encoded with the wisdom of the angels. So the client or myself will ask a question. What does the world need to know now about world peace? And then I'm given the cognitive message and the energy of that message gets encoded into the colors and the symbols and the art that appears on the page. So that when a viewer looks at it, they're moved at a heart level where they absorb that wisdom through their heart, bypassing the cognitive mind. And that's the beauty of it. That's what my art does. All art heals. That's how my art heals.
So I have a question, Lori. You got this message to draw. Like, what did you do? Like, you went out and got paint, you got pastels. Like, how did this actually on a practical level happen for you?
Well, I was spending a lot of time with my two oldest nieces at the time, and I had bought some pastel chalks and some paper for us to, kind of play around with one day. And so the angel said, go get your, and they weren't even good chalks. Okay. They were stuff you'd go buy $10 worth of chalk to play with your nieces, but it turned out exquisitely beautiful. And they said, go get the paper, go get the chalk, sit in front of your altar. And I actually picked up a card deck, Doreen Virtue's angel cards. And I said, what does the world need to know now? And the card that flew out of the deck was all is well, all is in divine order. And so the very first one I did was the all is well angel. And I decided last night that I was going to come on here and just be raw and real. And the best way that I can tell you that I know for sure this works is my therapist at the time was one of my biggest fans. And I had just found out that I'd been sexually abused as a young girl. Now, at this time, I'm in my mid-40s. And I said, what do I need to do? I mean, I had this flashback. And she said, you don't really have to do anything. But what I'm going to advise you to do is go home and make one of those angels for yourself. So I went home and asked the question, how does one heal from being abused? And this angel came out and she's kneeling. She's the only one. She's kneeling and she's crying this infinity river of tears, which is the foundation upon which her entire life is built, until the sun comes out around her and she can speak the truth from her heart. And I don't particularly think it's a very beautiful piece, but it's one of the most powerful pieces I've ever created. I put it in my bedroom because I thought, well, where else? But where better to heal from sexual abuse than in your bedroom? I couldn't sleep. I tried the second night. I couldn't sleep. I'm like, well, this isn't going to work. So I put it in the living room. When it was in the living room, I would sit near it and I'd just be agitated. I mean, I was healing one of my deepest core wounds. Finally, I put it in the foyer, and I thought, if this doesn't work, it's going to the garage, because it was just too. And usually, this is the kicker. Usually, when you're healing with the angels, it's easy. But this wound was so deep, and it permeated every aspect of my life. So when I hung it in the foyer on 2 different days, I had clients walk in that had no idea what it was for, that stood in front of it and started sobbing. They had both been sexually abused.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's all I needed to know. At that point, I was absolutely solidly convinced that this was the real deal.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I just want to ask you as well, because obviously we've all had many things happen to us in our lives that have made us go in different directions and stuff. But when was you, in addition, your awakening to the fact that we were all being lied to, you know, on a massive scale?
Oh, man. Well, when I was in the school of spiritual psychology, for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I would say the harmonic convergence. When did that happen? Like,
Is that 84?
yeah. My
1984.
life started to change after that. You know, all kinds of interesting people started to emerge into my life. I started to like crystals, and it just, like, I don't know, like the skies opened and things changed. And I just couldn't, if it was spiritual, if it was, had anything to do with quantum physics, epigenetics, I mean, all it just, I was fascinated by it. I couldn't get enough of it.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
the beauty of all of this is that I'm now taking my passion for art as a healing tool out to the world in a much, much bigger way. I've created the Healing Art Initiative, which is a donor-sponsored program bringing art into hospitals
Wow.
where it can really heal. And the scientific research is showing us that if a healing rate is 40% and you put healing art around that person, you can raise that healing response rate up to 70%. Just because it puts the person into more of a sympathetic nervous system, calming place where the body has the ability to heal.
Wow.
And that, all the information on that is on findyourmentor.com. So that's, as Lisa said, that's the company I'm vice president of right now. So that's where we're housing the Art Healing Initiative.
Yeah.
Do you have any of, like, handy, I don't, of your art to show?
You know?
I have one in the kitchen.
Okay. Yeah, I don't want to like
behind Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, just for people to put like a visual to the lovely description.
I'll go grab it. Hold on.
Okay.
I think that would be really important. But they can go on your website to find out more and find out more about the initiative and what you're doing. And
Yes.
sounds like school, like, well, we don't know how schools are going to transform going forward, hopefully for the better, but it sounds like they could really use your art for these young children, right?
100%. 100%. That would be, another project.
Yeah.
So
That's wonderful.
I'm very, very passionate. That's the Unity Angel.
Oh, beautiful.
Thank you.
And did you create that for Lisa?
It's
it's
a print of an angel that I created at the International Angel Museum. And it was a gift to the museum. So that's a print of it.
Okay.
And I did that one live on stage while Barry Goldstein was performing music. So it was art and music and healing at the Angel Museum. And Lisa, what happened when you brought that angel into your house?
Well, it's the Unity Angel, and I had how many people here?
There you go.
So yeah.
Yeah, I normally have a lot of art handy. I just moved into this new place. So a
Yeah.
lot of it's in boxes still. So thank you, Lisa.
You're welcome. No, it was a beautiful gift, and no, she's got a beautiful soul. We connected right away. Well, all these people here, and Liz is really funny because Liz and my other roommate Barry Fisher, who you met, the photographer,
Yeah.
met at a health food store in Burlington.
That's
They
right.
were, yeah.
In 2020.
Oh, that must have been interesting.
That
Yeah.
what was it? Someone walked by with a mask on and their kid had a mask on.
I walked outside to sit at the table and have lunch, and Barry was sitting at the next table. And she's so friendly. I said hi, she said hi. And then a family, like an entire family with children. This was March in Vermont, so it was, well, it was a warm March day, which means maybe 35 degrees, 40. And it was sunny. And so they walked by with masks on. And, mind blown by both of us, because how could there be any infection? Like, seriously, why wear masks outside? This was, maybe the end of March 2020, and we're in Vermont, so there's a lot of this lack of common sense.
That's a very nice way to put it.
And both of us just like I looked over at her, she looked at me, and we both like started saying like, that's the most insane thing I've ever seen. And then we just started talking and we became fast friends. Definitely God sent us together to meet that day, because through Barry, I felt so much love from Barry, which is new for me to have that kind of a friendship. And then I met Lisa SCHERMERHORN, Lisa Williams, and it's just been a really expansive period for me from meeting Barry. And Barry is such a wonderful person. So,
Yeah, Barry's amazing. We met her in New York at the Awakening Summit, and she's
Okay.
lovely. It's lovely. It's a shame she's not here today, because I watched one of your previous interviews about quantum, and I want to ask everyone about the importance of nature later. And so it's a shame, Barry's not here, but we'll get into that a bit.
It is a shame. She's amazing.
Yeah, but
Liz actually wrote her chapter about her connection with the plant life, with trees, and how she actually communicates with the nature, the world of nature, and plant life, and her experience with them.
Yes. Yep. And so I wasn't sure what I was going to talk about today, Lori, but I'm going to follow Lori's lead, because trees are what keep me here on the planet, really, seriously. Having been through incredible trauma growing up, MK Ultra, I was in the Monarch program, and it just started really early in my childhood. And in fact, today and yesterday has been, I thought I was all done with, I always think, okay, I've finished. I don't have to do any more layers. And so anyway, something else came up, and I just couldn't, even though I meditate and I teach meditation, I've been doing all this type of healing work for a long time. I couldn't get out of it, so I had to go walk down and talk to my grandfather tree. It's about a 300-year-old oak tree, and it's just totally immediate, really, the shift that happens. And it actually just told me to just, and the wind also talks to you. So that's super important. That is actually the big thing I wanted to talk about with people, was just being really aware of, when you're thinking things, you're having thoughts, even if it's just like a thought, like, I am so grateful for this amazing dinner I'm eating. And then the wind will move just slightly, just imperceptibly. You can feel it. It's like a whoosh, and you feel like you're connected, and that the wind is talking back to you. It's super beautiful. And so yesterday, the thing with the tree is what helped get me out of my flashback. I was having a really bad flashback. Couldn't see myself out of it. And that tree, just putting my hand on the tree for a little bit, it allowed me to actually just sob. And growing up in my family, my mother would she made dinner table conversations really hard, because she would make it all about herself, and then she would cry if she didn't get the reaction she wanted. So crying isn't something that comes easily to me. So that tree had me cry, and I really made a whole lot of progress on an issue that's been kind of stalling my progress my entire life. So trees, you don't have to hear what they say, you can sense it. But even if you just put your hand on the tree and, just open up your heart to the tree, that tree, through the mycelial network, which is the fungal network underground, will immediately, this is the quantum part, it will immediately transmit that what you need, because trees, the wind, animals, plants, they're here to support us. They're here to help us as humans, because they love us, to become all that we can be and to release things. So that tree will transmit your message immediately through that network and orchestrate things for you, for your healing. So then an individual appeared to me and just held my hand, and just, oh my God, it was the best thing ever. And that is because of the tree and the quantum universe around us, and it wanting to uplift all of us, me, you, and everything. So unbelievable, the tree. I just am so grateful for this tree. And one of the ways in which I have really grown from having these trees on my property is my desire to protect the trees. And we have such crazy weather. Like, Sophie's in the Adirondacks, an hour and a half away from us, big thunderstorms, power out. And I am working with my third chakra, with my will, and willing that my trees are protected from the winds and the storms. So they've been kind of going like, if my hands are the storms, they go like this around my property. And anybody can do this, because I will that they will be protected. And that's another way that I am protecting my trees. That's quantum as well, because we are quantum. We're part of the multiverse. We're very powerful beings. So that's another way that I do that. So, yeah.
Liz, I have a question. How did you discover or come to realize the power of trees? Like, when did that actually become conscious for you?
Well, where I grew up, there were a lot of really big trees.
Yeah.
In Ridgewood, New Jersey.
Oh, I used to work near there.
No way, really?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, so you know the trees, right? There's
Yeah.
beautiful, it's like trees everywhere. And then there were a lot of woods, even in New Jersey, right? So
I'm a Jersey girl.
and so I just would walk in the woods a lot, and I would feel them.
Oh.
I just was that way. Part of MK Ultra, though, is kind of, how do I say it, jump starting your clairvoyance. Like, they pick you, right? In my case, they picked me because of my ability to have a photographic memory and like learn things really quick. And they also helped me to become, I already was clairvoyant, but they made me more clairvoyant. I don't really
Yeah.
understand the whole thing.
It got strengthened, so to speak.
Oh, like amazingly. So like, I mean, I see so many things, right? So I would communicate with the trees even as a child. And I loved the trees. There were so many cool trees around. Yeah.
Well, you also have your master's in botany, so she also communicates with the plant life and for healing too.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just wanted to segue into that I'm a scientist and Lisa isn't a scientist. So what Lisa said about what she arranged to do just totally blew my mind. We were in that quantum healing training together. And what she must have been guided, right, to ask the question. One, to get the evidence that the quantum healing works. Because the results we were getting were phenomenal. Like people would get a quantum healing and then they would sit up on the table and tell me, for example, that they hadn't told anyone else, but they were sexually abused by their father, and they would sob and they would come to this incredible healing. So yeah, just why.
Whoops.
Oh,
No.
I know we're losing all these people.
Lisa, do you know what's happened to Chris?
No, I just heard him run downstairs, so I don't know if something came up that he had to take a call or something urgent because he's got a lot of things going on. But
Okay.
yeah, I don't know what
As long as he
happened.
hasn't passed out or anything.
I know.
Yeah.
Group is dwindling.
Okay,
But-
well, I'm sure she'll be back any second.
Yeah, she'll be back. But anyway, yeah, she's a remarkable healer. She does the quantum healing with us, and she actually taught at the college level. So she has a lot of scientific background. So it's awesome to bounce these things off of her because for me, not having any background, everything's always intuitive. She would always confirm everything for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
So why don't we, for now, and then we can always go back with questions
Yeah.
for Liz. Lisa, we'd love to hear from you and your story and what you do.
Oh, hi. Thank you so much. It's wonderful to be here. Just so you know, Lisa, I could not hear what you were saying. I don't know. I can't hear Lisa Schermerhorn for some
So
reason.
anybody who lost maybe just go off and come back. That's usually the best
You want me to?
suggestion we could. Well, if Lisa can't hear you, it might be best for her to go
I can
off.
hear Lisa.
You can hear, but she can't, right?
She can't. Now, Lori, you
I
can't
can
hear
only
me
hear
either.
Lisa.
I still cannot hear Lisa Schermerhorn, but that's okay.
So
All
Lisa,
right.
you can
I can't hear Stu.
go
I
out and
can't
come
hear
in,
Elisa.
and Lori, maybe
I
you
can't
go
hear
get
Lisa.
off.
Yeah. All right. Let me figure out how to get out. How do I get out of here? I used to
But it may
scream
not
there.
be Lisa. It may be
Yeah, I think Laurie can't hear all of us.
yeah. So
All right. Let me go out and come back in.
Private chat. Everyone go out and come back in. Laurie. Yeah. Lisa, can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Yeah, can you hear Lisa?
can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh,
So
that's perfect. Right, the three of us stay. Laurie, can you hear us? No, Laurie can't hear
okay,
us.
I told her
Okay.
to sign
Yeah.
out and come back in.
And Lisa's back. Let's
All right,
put
Lisa's back.
Hear me now, Lisa?
Oh, yes, I can. Yep.
All right.
So now we'll just wait. We'll just wait.
We're nearing
Lori.
the end of Mercury's in retrograde. I think tomorrow it finishes up. So there you go.
I don't know what it is. It's
Well,
been really weird.
again, thank you for having me here. I'm happy to be here. And you know what Lisa Schermerhorn has done with this book has just been so incredible. And I mean, just lassoing all 36 people together to get all of this done, I know was quite the feat for you, Lisa.
Thank you.
But and I'm sorry that Liz is not here still because I just wanted to make a comment about something that she said. So, she said she's been talking to trees since childhood, and I feel like I have also been kind of talking to plants and trees for my whole life. And especially recently, meaning in the last handful of years, I have been spending a lot of time outside. And, it's just that weird sensation where there's no wind, it's very calm, and yet there's a single fern waving frantically at me. And so I always say hi, how are you? It's so good to see you. So it's just been, oh, here's Liz. Liz, I was just saying a story about how I don't know if she can hear me, but telling a story about how I also talk to the trees and the plants, and I love when I'm walking down a path and the wind is calm, but a single branch or leaf or a single fern is waving frantically at me, and so we have a little communication going on there. So I love what you said about that.
That's great.
That's beautiful. Should we just, Liz, do you just want to finish what you were saying then, and then we'll give Lisa a full time?
Of course. What was I saying? Oh, just the
Like
ETs.
scientific.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, scientific, then opening up, put me into such a growth period to incorporate in a council of ETs. But incredible. Love them. They really amplify it quite a bit. Yep.
yeah. So you also have your understanding is there's a group of extraterrestrials under the tree. One of your
I
trees?
don't think they're ETs. I think they're druids. The druids
Okay.
talk to me. I mean, it's not just the trees, it's everything. Everything. I think I have some druids underneath.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know we lost
Yeah.
Lisa.
Lisa's gone
I'm
now.
kind of confused. I don't know what happened there. But yeah.
She's
Where
just
did
turned
she
that
go?
phone the other way. Here she comes.
Sorry, I couldn't hear Liz again, so
Oh wow.
I had to go out and come back in.
Could you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can hear you.
Can everyone hear everyone now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Beautiful.
Okay. So anyway, yeah, ETs. You want to have discernment because I have seen ETs in my healing work before. The grays. They tend to have a gray energy, cloudiness. There's hospital energy that is always associated with the grays. So I've seen ETs before, and the control mechanisms. And this was my first experience really working intimately with an ET group, and I highly recommend these quantum healings. If you want to shift anything, just do it. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, so we do a monthly group. We just did ours for the month, but we have another one coming up in August. Balancingbodyandsoul.com, but you can also get to it through my website, lisamindset.com. But yeah, that's always a wonderful way for people have had incredible healings through that.
Yeah. And I do them one-on-one too, which
Yeah.
is pretty incredible. So, yep. Any way you do it. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
So when you do these healings, is it just a question to everyone? Is it like a session? Is it like, because I'm a life coach too. So we think in terms of sessions, 45 minutes, an hour. Is it like that type of thing?
Well, if it's a group healing, it's a group healing, and there's a container that's set for it, right? For the group healing.
Yeah, it's usually on Zoom, and the last one we had almost 200 people.
Oh,
We had
wow.
we have a morning and an afternoon. We do 12 o'clock and 4 o'clock Eastern, and people come from all over the world. And Honey Golden, who's not here, but Honey brings everyone to the Akashic Records. And people go and check in with their record if they need to clear anything there. We do some ancestral clearing and healing as well. And then I go into a meditative state where I'm checking in on everyone energetically, and I see guides and angels, and everyone's guides come in, and people have really amazing healings. Honey is also intuitive, and people ask her questions about their life or how they're doing, and We're having musical chairs.
I was just thinking that, Lisa. I didn't want to interrupt you. I was thinking musical
Oh,
screens.
I've never seen anything like this. It's so
Right,
fun.
well, I've just put in the private chat. If anyone has any issues with not being able to hear anyone, just go out and come back in.
Come
again.
back in.
We might be seeing people going like this.
So anyway, that's the quantum healing. But yeah, I'd love to give Lisa Williams a chance to talk more about her experience. And she has this beautiful horse, Speedy, who was like 30 now, just turned 30. We had a birthday party for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
Speedy.
like a
Yep.
puppy.
Did you
He
make
is.
make a carrot cake?
Yeah. Yeah, Speedy, we did. We had a wonderful birthday, 30th birthday party for him. He's been with me for 25 years. And I am releasing him this summer, maybe in September or so. I'm not going to put him through another winter. So, yeah, he's my heart horse for sure.
Yeah.
He's the only horse I've ever had. He won't be the last, but he will always be my heart horse.
Yeah.
So, so again, thank you for letting me be here on the podcast today. My chapter in the book, really, I struggled for a while, wondering, what I was going to write about, and because all that was coming to mind was the story of my life, and then I realized, well, Lisa did want it to be relatable, and so I wrote about the story of my life, and my life has just flowed. Since I was a young girl, I came out of childhood and in early adulthood, really, really kind of leaving two quite abusive parents, um, and but I always had this innate trust, I guess, maybe in the universe or in myself, and everything always ended up working out for me. And I can't really remember a time where I just didn't believe that it wouldn't. And that's kind of how my whole life has gone. And just amazing, really, truly, incredibly amazing things have happened in my life, without really me even trying, just because I just believed they would. I applied for a job, or or something, or went in for an interview, and came out thinking, oh, this is going to be my next step in life, and poof, it happens. And just one thing after another happened like that without me really trying. And so that is really my story. Just, I'm a regular person, just like Lori was saying. I'm just a regular person, and I'm, there's nothing, extraordinary about me or my life, and yet I've lived an extraordinary life. And I just, I think I wish that more people could just have that innate sense of, that it's all going to work out, and and don't get in your own way. And then, my story in the chapter talks about how I reached a point. I lived in New York City for 12 years before moving back to Vermont. And, there's part of my story towards the end where I just started feeling really unfulfilled. I'm a nature girl, I'm a Vermont native. I grew up here. I can't imagine living anywhere else. And yet I lived in New York City for 12 years, which was fabulous while I was there. But when I was done, I was done. And I couldn't wait to come back to Vermont.
When
And
you
I
say
just,
New York City, do you mean Manhattan or the boroughs?
I was in Manhattan for my first 7 years, out of 12. And then I ended up buying a co-op in the Bronx, right near Yankee Stadium,
Oh,
for my last 4.5, 5 years up there.
oh
So,
wow. I have
yeah.
strong roots to the Bronx.
Oh, do
Interesting.
you?
Yeah.
Oh, great. I
I went to
loved it
Fordham.
there. I loved it there. And even when I lived in Manhattan, I rented in Manhattan. I was living mostly in East Harlem. And I chose the location because I really love living in a diverse neighborhood.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh
there's,
wow, we should talk. My
oh, I'd
dad
love to.
grew up in East Harlem, and I have like the 1930s and 40s stories and the
Oh,
Jets, you know, the whole West Side Story thing up there.
yeah,
Yeah, very
my
interesting.
favorite musical.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I'd love to chat sometime. That would be
Yeah.
wonderful. Um, so yeah, I just, you know, I ended up, you know, when I made the decision you know, I thought my goal was 6 to 10 years in New York, and 12 years later, I finally moved back to Vermont. But and I was ready. You know, once I made the decision, I really couldn't get out of the city fast enough. You know, and I loved living there. Every minute of living in New York was fabulous. But when I came back to Vermont, I just shortly prior to coming back to Vermont, I just started feeling this, I don't know, not hollowness, not emptiness. I mean, I guess I think I describe it as emptiness in my chapter, but it was just there was something missing, and I realized that I'd spent, you know, most of my 30s, you know, late 20s into my 30s and 40s meditating twice a day and just being, you know, just leading a very spiritual life without trying. And I think the city, you know, you're always working, and you know, it just takes a lot out of you. And I wasn't finding time to meditate or practice my yoga or anything like that. And so that kind of emptiness kind of crept in, and I knew it was a soul, it was at a soul level, and it was a very spiritual depletion almost. So coming back to Vermont allowed me to kind of regain the time that I needed to start meditating again, and kind of coming back to myself. Not that it's been easy, because I'm sure some of you know, once you get out of your practice, and when you're meditating twice a day and it comes so easily to you to drop into that spiritual place, once you've been out of your practice for a while, it doesn't come easy anymore. And so that was kind of you know, that's been sort of a learning process for me of how to just be naturally in that space, in that spiritual realm again. And I never thought that I would have to work at that, because it's always something that has come so easily to me. But I'm having to work at it,
Yeah.
and that's okay. You know, I'm learning that I need discipline, and I need to really set my intentions. Whereas I sort of coasted through life very beautifully, you know, for decades, and now here I am, a little bit older, and having to sort of reteach myself how to get there.
Yeah.
So
Well, Lisa has also, she backpacked across India for, was it a month?
4 months.
For 4 months.
Yeah.
I mean, everything would just show up for her, and that flow. It's a really remarkable story of how she ended up with this program. But you know, I love when you have a dream and you want something and you focus on that, and then it shows up. And then the key is to say yes, which Lisa did.
Well, and what's interesting, from my perspective, is I never even knew I had those dreams. You know, I mean, it's just like I wasn't like, oh, I have this goal, I need to figure out how to make it happen. Like you know, things just kept showing up, and I always say that my favorite word is yes. And so without like really having a consciousness about maybe the things that happened in my life that were so fabulous, they just would show up. And I luckily happened to be in places in my life, you know, at various times where I just said yes and it happened. And it wasn't, you know, I always thought that going to India would be fabulous, but it was never like a goal. Oh, how can I make this happen? It was just, oh, that would be cool to travel there. And then on to the next thing, right? And then the opportunity came up, and I thought I could say yes to this. And I did, and it happened. And so that's pretty much how my entire life has gone thus far. Lucky me.
Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Thank you.
I had some questions, if that's okay, like to ask the group. Because we're talking about healing, we're talking about quantum, and a number of you guys said that like the painting made people sob, or standing by the tree you started to cry. Can we talk about crying? Because I think that, like, what is so important about crying? And it's kind of unfair because I've gone to a couple of funerals in the last few months, and I watch a lot of the men and they just don't cry. I've seen some men that just let it out and they're just so free. And then I see others that they're sad, but they just can't cry, or they cry for like a minute and they're like, oh, I cried. And I'm like, you cried for like a minute. Like, that's not hardly a cry. So why is crying so pivotal and important to the healing process?
I think it's because you're honoring the body's memory, and the tears are sacred, but the tears hold power. There's something about when the tear ducts release, there's a real sacredness to it, and that's all I know. But you are releasing waves of energy. It's so beneficial. And I'm sure other people have more to say than I do, but
We are not meant to hold on to pain for extended periods of time. But as children, we are not taught how to process our emotions, especially men. Big boys don't cry. Right. And how many songs are written, big boys don't cry? So men have not, for the most part, been given permission to have their emotion. So that's where it comes out in rage. It comes out in other things. And because they also have the testosterone on top of that, so it comes out in other ways. Yeah. For women, we are at least given the opportunity, I shouldn't say the opportunity, but given more permission of how to process and use those emotions. But one of the things that I have learned is when you don't process an emotion, it literally stays in the physical body. We've got other energy healers here too. So and Lori's confirming that. When you release it, because your thoughts create these neuropeptides that go around and they attach to your cells. When you release it, it's cathartic because you're allowing it to move through. If you don't, it stays stored there on an unconscious level. So it'll come out in other ways. And there's a book that I use. Louise Hay has done a lot, around the body-mind connection. There's many, many other books. I use one called Your Body Speaks Your Mind. When you have physical issues, you can look up the mental, emotional meaning to it, even spiritual meaning. You don't need the books. You can go on ChatGPT and ask, what's the spiritual meaning of my left shoulder? Right. And it'll tell you. And it gives you some perspective on how to go back and release that. What do I do with that emotion? And I'm like, oh, left is female, right is the masculine. Shoulder is holding the weight of the world. I went to one of my best friends from high school passed away, and I was asked to do the eulogy. She was down in Florida. I was in Vermont. I hadn't seen her in years. She was hiding a life that I didn't know about, and that she had been drinking heavily and her organs were shutting down. So as a healer, I didn't know this because I hadn't spent time with her, and she basically drank herself to death. So when I got there, I was in such shock processing everything that had happened. And on the way home, my left eye was bright red, like to the point where the fellow who was sitting next to me on the plane was like, are you okay? Do you know that your eye is bright red? I looked it up and it said, what is it you don't want to see? What is it you don't want to, feel? And I sat with that and I processed my grief for 3 days, and I cried and I let it go because I felt guilty that I hadn't been there for her, that I didn't know. And once I did that, 3 days later, it was gone. Now I could have gone to the doctor and gotten drops, and then what would have happened? Then those emotions get stored someplace else, and it moves throughout our body.
Yeah.
So it's a process, and Liz is proficient in something called the body code. She works with the body code, where she can actually pick up where you have certain things stored and helps people release it as well. I use hypnosis. She uses different techniques.
Very interesting.
I'd like to.
That's great. Yeah, for sure. I mean, trapped emotions cause imbalances, and then that will lead to physical symptoms. So what Lisa said was, if you just get the drops and you relieve the symptoms, you're not, taking advantage of what your body is trying to communicate. So crying is a great way to release those trapped emotions, because you don't want them. You want your emotions to flow. And it's interesting, as a child, when a child is upset, it usually takes them about 90 seconds to process something. If they're given the space to do that, they can process an emotion in 90 seconds, right? So for us, because we hold on to things, it takes a little bit longer, for sure. So, yeah.
But one of the things I always say is, you get to keep the wisdom and you release the pain. And that's the purpose of doing whatever the healing work is, because the idea is really to get you to neutral. When they talk about being in the present moment, being in the present moment doesn't mean that you don't have problems in the world. But when you heal that inner child, that part of you that is in pain, when you can release the pain, that doesn't run you anymore.
Right.
So one of the greatest gifts was when it's crazy, because my emotions used to go up and down like constantly. It was very erratic when I was dealing with my inner child from my own trauma. When I started healing that and forgiving all these people, I became neutral. And then I was like, what's wrong with me? I don't feel like, why aren't I angry when someone just said that? Or why aren't I overly excited when something good happens? And I was just like in this really interesting state. And it took me a while to really honor
you became
that.
the observer.
Yes.
So that's the goal, is to become the observer, so that you are neutral. You still have the feelings, you still experience the traumas, but you have a system within you now that can release the feelings and honor them, and not get all caught up in all of it. And you're neutrally observing it, which is such a gift to yourself and the other person. Because when you're observing neutrally, you're telling that other person, I see you as a quantum powerful being, and I know you can handle it. So you don't jump into sympathy with them. You're empathetic, but you're compassionate with neutrality, and that gives them a leg up in their healing journey. They're actually seeing themselves in a new way, not as a victim, but it's an empowering way to witness someone going through something.
Yeah. And I'm not trained scientifically either, but when you go to therapy for a long time, you pick up little things and you get to understand the psychology. But I think it's also hard for people sometimes, because, when you're letting your subconscious kind of guide you, and the anger and the adrenaline, it's a little addicting, and you see people in relationships sometimes, and they get into these bad relationships, but there's a lot of drama, and then if someone healthy comes along who just wants to love them and have a normal life, they find it boring, or because they haven't healed that. So they don't know how to, just like you said, be in that neutral state of just kind of living and being. There's always an up and down, and and anger is a very energizing emotion.
Yes.
Right? It gives you that seemingly feeling that you're in control, and
that's
but
so
it's
great.
not.
Right. Well, what my very first training in spiritual healing was in 1986 when I was in the middle of my master's degree, and it was driving me nuts because it was population genetics and Hardy-Weinberg law and all that. So I started to do a thing called stress diffusion from 3-in-1 concepts. And they talked about if you have an unresolved stress, whenever it appears again, for example, for me, cleaning, then you go back to the age that you were when you had the stress appear around cleaning. And for me, I realized this weekend it was when I was 2. So I've been approaching organizing my house and everything from a 2-year-old perspective. So with the stress diffusion, we work on releasing through somatic and nervous system regulation. Things that Lisa does are incorporated into this training too, and you bring your nervous system up into present time. We had a saying, it says get off the dime, because you're on your hypothalamus in the back of your head. When you get triggered by stress, you go back to the hypothalamus and you stay there. So that's a kind of scientific reason for why people get stuck in loops. They can't get out of it until they can imagine a new outcome. And Lisa has a really good thing you can just do at home. You don't need to get stress diffusion, where she tells you, what is it you do? Say the,
Oh,
can I let
so
it go?
so you identify it. This is somatic, so it's in the physical body. When you identify an emotion in your body, there's a quick mantra. Should I let it go? Yes. Could I let it go? Yes. When now? And you repeat it over and over again, and you literally can feel this go. Now,
Poof, it goes
it
like a
does.
cloud,
It's
like
amazing.
leaves.
You
It's
give
it.
it, yeah,
Mhm.
you give it a number from 0 to 10. And if something is a 10 and you are resistant to letting it go, that's the work that needs to be done. Not everyone is ready to let go. Not everyone is ready. There are times when, people are saying, why do I need to forgive that person? They hurt me. And I've learned now that what has that person done for me, not to me? And it takes a long time to get to that place. And when I did some forgiveness work, I didn't speak to someone for 14 years.
Wow.
And this person called me out of the blue after 3 months of doing forgiveness work around this
Right.
person. And I got this call. I miss you. I noticed that things between us have changed. I miss you. I want you back in my life. How can we make this happen? Now, nothing had changed but this other prayer, the Ho'oponopono, which is the forgiveness prayer. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. So energetically, I shifted, which on a quantum level, they felt it and they shifted. So it
That's
doesn't mean I
evidence
have
of it.
to, yeah, it's evidence of it, but doesn't mean that I have to like them. It doesn't mean they don't even know I forgave them. Doesn't mean I have to hang out with them. I don't carry it anymore.
Right.
That's what forgiveness is.
Yeah, perfect.
Right.
Laura, you were going to say
I just
something.
wanted to add a little twist to that. I had a similar experience that you did, doing some forgiveness work with my family. And 15 years later, my sister called me up and everything was better. And it was very beautiful. But getting back to this big boys don't cry. So I'd be traveling with Hay House and I'd have these booths all over the country. And invariably, I'd see a man glancing at the wall behind me where all of the angels were hanging. And I pretty much knew the order of them. And I'd see his eyes go over to that corner. And he'd come up to me, hand me a black American Express card, and point. Didn't know what the angel was, didn't know what it was for. All he knew was that he was absolutely drawn to it. And over and over and over again, this would happen at shows all over the country. I looked at my assistant one day and I said, we should triple the price of that thing, because they never ask. They just point. And that angel is the emotional healing angel.
Wow.
So on some heart level, men are drawn to know they need to do their healing work. But we live in a society where men contain themselves because their societal rules tell them to. But when they saw something, a tool that they knew, they thought it was just a piece of art. They
Right.
didn't know what it was going to do. It would have been fascinating to follow up with each of them. But
Yeah. Well, you know what it also is? We're coming into the balance of the divine masculine and the divine feminine. So we're all being called to heal because we've been purposely forced out of balance. Because men are not allowed to feel their emotions or not told to, they're not in touch with their feminine side. And women have been taught that the feminine is weak. And so women step in and become feminized version of men. And especially when there's a case of divorce where women have to take both roles or men have to take both roles, you know, most of my women friends are I always say I have badass friends. Like all the women I know, they're very powerful. I mean, you should see Lisa with a chainsaw and her tractor. It's unbelievable. She goes out and she fells all these massive trees, and she's basically
so cool.
has how much wood to build she's building her own house. She's an
Wow.
architect.
Yeah, I
She's
milled over
totally
14,000. I milled over 14,000 board feet of lumber 2 summers ago.
That's amazing.
That is.
Yeah.
Incredible.
I love women that are hands-on.
Yeah.
Let me just say, as the only man here, now, Chris,
Yeah.
I'm very in touch with myself. I'm in touch with my feminine, no doubt.
Yeah.
But I'm a man's man, right? But I do not cry at funerals, right? And that's not because I'm not showing any emotion or anything. It's because when people around me are weak, I feel strong, right? And I feel stronger for them. You know, it's like I want to be the protector. I want to be someone standing tall, you know, that they can. And that's just how I am. Now, I've got a story. I won't go into that. I told Elisa the other day, but that who's just gone there?
Lori.
Lori. Maybe she couldn't hear me. But yeah, I've got a story. My girlfriend died years ago in horrible circumstances. And I have, bear with me a sec, Laura's just coming back in. I have done a lot of crying about that, but I'm not. It's almost like a meditation for me, because when I have a cry, I'm normally on my own. And it's not sad things. Laurie's in and out like a fiddler's elbow. Laurie's back. Who's gone? Lisa's gone now. Sorry. Right. She's coming back. Right, what was I saying then? What bit was I at?
You were at.
Can't keep up with everyone disappearing.
Crying.
Crying.
Yeah,
like a meditation almost, you said.
Yeah. Which is why I go into nature a lot. But when I see sad things, I am strong, right? It's when I see happy things, you know, happy endings and all this sorts of stuff, that's when the emotion gets to me. You know, I'm single, but I'm very content with my life. What Lisa was saying there about being on a neutral, right? I feel like I'm on a neutral, but I feel like I'm on a level up here. Do you know what I mean? Where I can see everything, and it's very easy for me to control my emotions and stuff. And you know, I'm crap at meditating, right? I can shut my mind off to nothing, but it's just something that I find boring. But I'm meditating when I'm out running or walking or cycling or sitting down in nature, listening to the trees, you know, and the birds and all these sorts of things. So yeah, I just wanted to say that.
But you're also, the role of the divine masculine is the protector.
Yeah.
And, you know, one of the things, unfortunately, Chris isn't here right now, but one of the things we talked about is holding doors open, right?
Yeah.
To me, I love when a man does that. Mm-hmm. I just think, you know, or holding a door open, or just that whole beautiful, you know, gesture. It's an honoring.
They carry something heavy, or...
Yeah, that just the help. I just love being honored that way. It's not that I'm weaker, but there are women who are conditioned to say, oh, you know, they you know, may say, oh, you know, what do you think, I can't hold the door open myself? Or, you know, it's just those roles. This is so funny.
Yeah.
Mercury's in retrograde one more day.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very much like that myself. You know, I would always do that. The age of chivalry is not dead. And, you know, if I hold the door open for someone and they don't appreciate it, right, I might go, fuck off, right? But it doesn't affect me in a way that makes me feel bad for the rest of the day.
Right.
You know, and it's don't. And you saw me lift Dr. Jan off the stage.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's just a tiny little thing, do you know? And I just think it's lovely to do things like that.
Yeah.
And you know, many beautiful women do appreciate those things because they haven't, you know, this feminist movement that has been, but you know, to take the women out of the house and all these things has affected a lot of people, hasn't it, in certain ways?
It absolutely has. And I think as we come back into balance for women to allow themselves, oh, look, I'm frozen. Can you? Oh, yeah, there you can hear.
Yeah,
me.
I can hear.
To allow themselves to, you know, there's a relearning of what the divine masculine and what the divine feminine look like together.
Yeah.
And really serving each other. It's a true beautiful thing. So
It is. It's like musical screens. You know, Lisa, on that point.
Can I just add something very quickly and then I'm finished? I forgive people. I've had certain things happen in my life. I've even, when it wasn't my fault, I've been the one to go and make up with someone for the collective. Do you know what I mean? And and I've done things like that. But you know, certain people, they wrong me, just cut them out of my life, and I don't think about it again. You know, but finding that forgiveness is an amazing thing. And just the other thing in my life as well, which I know many people I know can't do, and I do not do it in an arrogant way. I love myself. I look in the mirror and go, I love you. Good morning. You know, and think, you know, whatever you do, you've got. I know people that find it really hard to just stare at themselves in the mirror and look into their eyes and all that because of past trauma and all these sorts of things. But you know, I just maintain a very high level of happiness, gratefulness.
Every time somebody comes off.
Oh.
This is going to make for very interest, like to our viewers now, but then the ones that aren't live with us, you know, it's very it's like a visual piece of art.
I know everything keeps moving around. It's like the little puzzle pieces. This is
funny. I was Stu, are you finished?
I love that, Stu. That's like the mirror is a portal, and when you're looking at your image, you're actually interacting with your future self too, which is so powerful. I am just thrilled to hear that you do that and that you're able to like hold space for yourself and say I love you and not think it's silly or anything, and you lock eyes with yourself through that portal. That's very powerful,
especially if you're in one of those rooms that has multiple mirrors. Honestly, that is so powerful because they're all portals. So love yourself. Speak into the mirror what you desire.
You know, I want to say something about that too, because I'm somebody who I realize I hardly ever look at myself in the mirror unless I'm getting ready for an event and I'm putting on mascara or something like that, right? But in general, I don't look in mirrors at myself. And I realized, you know, a handful of years ago when I had this conversation with someone that I think it was because I was taught that I didn't have a voice when I was growing up and throughout my whole life, to be honest. I mean, the abuse of my parents didn't end, at 24. It continued until I walked away just a couple of years ago. But whenever anybody speaks about, looking in the mirror, looking at yourself in the eyes, saying, I love you, because I have started that practice too. I don't do it on a regular, but I started that practice. And I was amazed at how hard it was. And when I reflected upon that, I realized it was because I hardly ever look at myself in a mirror. And when I trace that back to, the question, why is that? I think I came up with the fact that I was just never allowed to have a voice as a child. So I was in effect dismissing myself,
Yeah.
having been taught, or having been dismissed so often in my life by the people who were supposed to love me. And so that practice, Stu, I think is fabulous that you do that, because I really want to continue that and maybe do it a little bit more than I do. And it's become easier and easier as I do it. But I am amazed at how difficult it was for me to start that practice.
Yeah.
So yeah, just let me ask, from difficult to getting easier, do you find you feel more positive now, and it's helped you just by doing that simple little thing?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm a positive person anyway. I always have been, even since I was a little child. But yes, it's I think what it's done most for me is I walk by a mirror and all of a sudden I stop for a second. I'm like, or I make eye contact with myself, and I realize that I have never really done that throughout my life. And so that it is a positive thing for me, because I've always loved myself. I've really just had to grapple with other people not loving me.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
but I've
That's
always
real.
loved myself.
Yeah. It's
Dude.
funny because like I suffer a lot from anxiety, and I've started in the last week when I'm feeling like that feeling, and I'll say, like, sometimes you're not in front of a mirror, right? I'm cooking dinner or doing something, but then I'll just like stop, and in my mind or out loud I'll say that, like, I love you, it's okay. And it really changes the energy. You know what I
Totally.
mean? Like it there's a little bit of a calming. Let's put it
Yes.
that way.
Yes.
You're
When I first-
connecting with
Yeah.
yourself.
Yes. Because when I first started doing this work 25 years ago, I had a nervous, that was my dark night of the soul. And one of my teachers was telling the story that she said that if a police officer heard what I said to myself every morning, I'd be arrested for a battery.
Battery and assault. Oh, wow.
It's so true. Like, and I'm sure everybody can relate, that like
Yeah.
in one way or another, like especially as a coach, I'll ask that question to a lot of my clients. I'll be like, let me ask you something. Do you tell your daughter what you just said about yourself? No, of course not. Do you tell your best friend? No. I said, so why are you saying that to yourself?
Yes, exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, hey, everybody, I'm so sorry, but I have to run.
Aw.
And but I want to thank you all for having me here, Lisa, Stu, all of you, and I love hearing everybody's stories, and I hope we can do it again sometime.
Lisa,
Oh,
lovely to meet you.
Thank you for being here.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Lisa, that was fantastic.
Yeah.
I loved
Thank
hearing
you.
about
You
your
guys are all
perspective.
fantastic, and I'll
you.
see you soon.
Yes.
Okay.
definitely.
Okay.
So you're not coming back after you go then?
I'm not coming back this time.
Okay, just so I know. I've never worked so hard in production here. Right, see you later. Bye.
Bye, Lisa.
Bye.
That's so funny.
Well, it was if nothing else, it was interesting, right? With people going out, people coming in. So I had another question for you ladies as well. A lot of people, when we think of balance, or at least us, like not necessarily, normies who haven't gone down those roads, but when we think of balance, we think about our chakra system and our energy system. And how do you feel like that plays into it? Like, for example, I'm not an expert, but, I've read and I have like a working knowledge of it. So there are certain of our chakras represent certain points of, I guess, development, or like your root chakra, your security and all that. And then as you go up, they affect other parts of you, and I guess developmentally. And I guess depending on the abuse or trauma or, things that happen, one chakra might be more out of balance than the next. But is that something that that people can kind of work on themselves? Like, obviously they can come to you ladies, right, to have that therapeutic, if you will,
Oh.
intervention. But yeah, I would love to talk a little bit about that.
Can I go?
Yeah.
No.
Oh,
Oh my God.
Oh,
that
me.
is- That is such a, well, you can go first.
No,
You want me to
I
go?
was teasing. I was teasing because you were
Okay,
raising
because
your hand.
I'm a clairvoyant minister in the Church of Inner Light from Psychic Horizons, and yes, we work with that every day. We teach this meditation. It's an active one, so it's not like you're trying to empty your mind, because I could never do that. I was like I had to like run or cycle or do something to get into the zone. So this meditation that we teach is a way of clearing and balancing your chakras on the daily. It's so great. It's like a spiritual shower. So no matter what you've been exposed to or had happen in your life, you can balance your chakras no matter what. And you do it just by running. We teach it running earth and cosmic energy through your spiritual channels, and then having your chakras spin the right direction and filling them up with present time energy. And there you have it. You're like in this beautiful little space. So it feels great. It feels empowering, and you get into a neutral observer. Can you guys hear me?
Yes,
Oh,
perfectly.
good,
So is
good.
that,
good.
to bring it down to like the basics, right? Because I'll sometimes I have put on like YouTube, and it's like, we're going to balance our chakras, and then you lay down and they kind of walk you through the visual of the colors, right? Red, and then orange, and then yellow, and and you're going up and you're visualizing, like, at least the way I do it sometimes when I'm feeling really like, I'll lay down quiet, and then I visualize each of the chakras becoming very bright and spinning. I don't know what direction. They're just moving.
You want to do it clockwise.
Clockwise, yeah.
So if you're laying like this, it's clockwise to your body.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
And then is that a very simple way? And then you go all the way up to the crown. I know we have many more above.
It is, but there's also trauma stored in our chakras. There's all kinds of belief systems that get stored in there. So yes, it's important to do that, but it's also the somatic work of feeling like, where do I feel it in my body, and releasing, because and integrating a practice of releasing and understanding, because if you don't shift your thoughts, you just call back whatever it is. So it's body, mind, spirit. You have to integrate all of it. Because things can leave, but if you don't know how to manage, like, there are a lot of people who don't know how to manage being healthy.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Go ahead, Liz.
well, somatic work is super important, and that is a great way to balance your chakras. But this method of running earth and cosmic energy will clean out whatever it is that you're willing to release on that day. And it's active. It's not lying down. It's sitting straight up. And yeah, so you'll be balanced, and then you'll be neutral and able to do somatic work, because the somatic work is so important. But that's a different thing, though. That's not really balancing your chakras. That's like releasing energies that could imbalance your chakras.
Okay.
There's so much.
And
Oh
then,
yeah, and she's got the Healy.
and then if you're just too busy to do all that, you grab your Healy, which is an affordable wearable biofeedback device, and
Really?
you pull up the chakra program, and
Yeah.
it'll show you which ones are out of balance.
Really?
No
And then
way.
you click the button, and it sends the frequencies into the Healy, and it works on your field while you're doing your other work.
Yeah.
Is that what Chris sells? The Healy?
No, I don't think
Oh.
so.
No, that's the Deems device. This also
Oh.
balances your
Okay.
chakras, but Lori's very involved. I actually have a Healy too. It's a great device.
What is it? Is it something that you wear on you, or you hold it, or?
Well, it has a clip on the back, so you could wear
Okay.
it. And mine actually has a coil attached, so it's creating a scalar field about 6 feet around my entire body. It works on there's a quantum sensor in here, so it's sending frequencies into physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual fields simultaneously. I have 3 of these that run day and night around here. You could, because I run them on my
Wow.
dog, I run them on my house, I run them on groups, I run them on Find Your Mentor when, you know, we're setting intentions. There's a
Nice.
coaching module in here. Anybody who's a coach that's coaching without one of these is really missing out.
Wow.
Where'd
And
you get those?
was gonna
What
say.
website is that?
Well,
What
she,
website?
yeah,
Yeah.
you're one of you sell them, correct?
Well,
People can go
actually
through
on the-
you.
Yes, yes.
And you just put it anywhere? Like you could just put it in your room, or do you actually need to have it on your person? Like,
There's a number of different delivery methods with the frequencies. One of them just sends them into the quantum field and your body absorbs what it needs. One is you hook it up with microcurrent bracelets and it's sending the frequencies directly into the body. And then the other is with the coil and it's sending it in a field around you. So I like the coil because if my dog's sitting next to me, she's getting the healing as well.
yeah.
Wow. That's beautiful. And
Yeah.
trees will do that too. So that's the cool thing. Like I'm this weird Luddite. My mission is to like all those things are perfect and good and are awesome. And then there's people like me who just are like in the left field and just saying, you like go to the tree and touch the tree and you will get your frequency adjusted. So I'm not supposed to be using these products. I've been like channeled that I'm just supposed to be doing the natural stuff, which might be harder. But just so if you don't have the funds to get something like that, you just go to a tree.
And it can be any tree, Liz, like any.
Well,
does that-
usually someone has a relationship with a tree. Like usually there's a tree that calls out to you and it's your mother or your father tree or your grandfather tree.
You know, that is so weird. Before I moved like to a neighborhood, like next to another neighborhood, you know, like over the border. And I used to go for walks near the college here. And I was so drawn. I didn't know why. I thought it was more artistic, you know, like, oh, this tree is so beautiful. But I was so drawn to this tree. And when you said that, because I don't go for walks there anymore because I moved. And I was just thinking, I think I have to go visit that tree. I
Really?
would see it sometimes, like in my mind, like that tree is so beautiful the way it stands. And I don't know, I wasn't deep about it. I just was like, I guess what you're saying, it was calling to me. That's
You're
so
still
cool.
communicating with the tree too. That's really beautiful. But I think these devices are phenomenal.
Yeah.
Totally. They're the bomb. So get them if you want them for sure.
No, there really are.
Yeah.
They're really phenomenal. I've used them. Mine just I can't find mine right now. It appears and disappears.
So, Lori, do we just go to your website? Do people go to your website if they're interested in getting this? Is there a special link?
I just put the link in the chat.
Oh, okay.
right.
What's it called
Yeah.
again? A Healy?
It's
Yeah.
a Healy.
Yeah,
H-E-A-L-Y. Yep.
Healy. Okay, I've heard of
Yeah,
those.
yeah.
Yeah.
You could go
How
to my
long-
website. type
How
Heart
long have
Healing.
you had them?
I have, oh my gosh, since 2020.
Yeah. I had mine.
my God.
I got mine pretty early on too. I think they had just they were in Germany and they'd just come to the US and
Yep,
they
they
were
came to-
just coming out.
There's
Right
so
during
many
COVID.
ways to heal. It's just so
Yeah.
amazing. You go with what you gravitate towards.
Yeah.
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 I've just put that in the Rumble chat for you because it comes up. It's like it's got your referral there, Lolly. So if anyone wants to go
Thank
on
you.
there,
That's
my
great.
chat.
Yeah. I like that you have it near your animals too, like because I have like cats and dogs. Like my dog is
Yes.
sitting right next. She's laying down. Sometimes when I do my podcast, she's right here. So
Yep. Sometimes if we go out like to a restaurant and it's just a little noisy and she's with me and she gets nervous, I'll clip it on her collar and
Oh
run
my
the
God.
calming frequencies and she
That's
calms right.
amazing.
Yeah.
and
I
she
mean,
calms.
she calms right down. It's amazing. Yes. I mean, I love all the different healing modalities. This is just a no-brainer This is when you're busy. You know, you're out with friends, your dog's nervous, you clip it on their collar. Done.
So that would work like with thunderstorms and to heal them to calm them as well. Because my dog gets terrible. I give her CBD, but I can do something. Yeah.
You can also just ground your dog, and that works immediately as well.
How do you do that?
So you can just imagine a big grounding cord around your dog, like the entire body. Yeah. And that's it goes all the way down to the center of the universe. And that works well too, grounding. Because what the grounding cord does is it releases anything that's not in present time, anything that's not in their highest interest. You give that command to it and it'll just go right down the grounding cord.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so much great information on this show, right, Sue?
Mm-hmm. The Healy's easier. The Healy is, and until you get yours in the mail, you can try the grounding.
Yeah.
Yeah, the dog can do with a little bit of grounding.
Oh.
Yeah.
And the cats.
She's had. Yeah.
Yeah.
So any parting thoughts about the book? I mean, now people can get this on Amazon, right?
Yes, it's available on Amazon. We hit international bestseller 2 days after it came out.
That's amazing.
So it's really been exciting. We have authors from all over the world. Dr. Christiane Northrup wrote the foreword to it. I have Dr. Carrie Madej, Joe Vitale, Sir Robert Edward Grant. Let's see, Michael Jaco's in it, Laura Eisenhower, Tom Althouse, who wrote the original manuscript for The Matrix.
Yes.
And his manuscript was stolen by Hollywood and they inverted. And spoiler alert, when you use the term red pill, his intention was not that. It's actually blue pill. Red pill represented the blood of the children.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Yep. So when you
total inversion.
Total inversion. Honey C. Golden is in it. You've got Lori, Liz, really extraordinary group of people. So I'm really excited for people to read this. Again, every chapter isn't for everyone. And that's what I love about this is there's something for each person. I intentionally picked people who are more pragmatic in their approach. I wanted and people who are spiritual, doctors. There's Dr. Northrup. And then Jennifer Allen, if you see the woman in blue in the middle, she was my first guinea pig. I don't know if you can see this picture, but that's blood before and after.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that was just, yeah.
So, yeah, that was.
Well, I do love the way, obviously, the website shows all the contributing authors, but I love how you have that at the very beginning of the book. Like, that's really special. That you can put face
you can click on, you can see all those green buttons. Those are everyone's interviews. So you can see all the people and get to know them at a deeper level. So that's one of the things. I love you to buy the book, but if you don't buy the book, it's okay. You still get to hear their stories. Maybe a different story too. Not everyone talked about what they did in the chapters.
Sure.
Yeah. And that is that's all on LisaSchermerhornCoaching.com. Correct?
Yeah. Or LisaMindset.com. It's easier than trying to spell Schermerhorn.
Well, it's all, anyone that needs it, it's on the screen there. So
someone just wrote Tom Althouse. Yeah, they killed two of his sons. Two of his sons.
They did?
He had 3 children and 2 of them were taken.
He has a very powerful story. He was actually a guest at the Quantum Summit 2 last March that Mel had down in Cape Canaveral. And, of course, when you're managing events, you have like certain time, right? You have to be mindful of time, and his time was up, and people were so touched, we had to actually add him in the next day and do some switching around so that he could continue his story. And
Yeah.
very powerful, very emotional. I've interviewed him a few times.
Yeah.
Just
He's been interviewed by Roseanne Barr twice.
I
I
think
have
they're actually
interviewed
good
him.
friends. I
Yeah,
think
they
they're
are
actually
good friends. And yeah, I've interviewed him a couple times. His story is quite compelling. It reads like a novel itself.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, because it's really not just about the the theft of his manuscript. It's about his life, and the people that he interacted with were, I guess, kind of forced to interact with, and a lot of the evil that
Yes.
he is aware of. So
Yes.
Oh my
very
God.
interesting.
Yeah.
But this was fantastic. Stu, any last thoughts?
Well, I've got some more questions here, but
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's all right. I just let's just ask one more question then, because we're moving into a massive phase of this information war now and this awakening, especially since Trump came out and did his election speech the other night. This is really bringing we've been talking about for years into the public narrative now. So we definitely things are going to escalate. But have you got any sort of predictions for the future? Because I heard you talking the other day, this discussion about NPCs and, potentially what's going to happen. Are we going to lose people? How do you sort of see this going? And I just want you to add as well. We know that this dark side feeds off Loosh, right? They feed off our negative energy, which is why they divide and conquer us, constantly put fear on the TVs and stuff, and the importance of, remaining happy and putting out this positive energy.
So I don't watch the news. I got rid of my cable. I have Movie Channel and I have my Amazon Prime if I want to watch anything. I also believe that a lot of this stuff is already played out and we're just, hearing about a lot of the things. Yeah. So I don't give it a lot of attention, to be honest. And there's so much that I don't have control of other than my own life. Right. And so for me, it's about focusing on how can I be of service? How can I love myself and love others and help others? Because we are now at the state of bifurcation. So there's a 3D and we're in the fourth density, fifth dimension. So we are splitting off in timelines. So even if you're in the higher timeline right now, you can still see a lot of the darker things that are going on. You can observe it, but don't get sucked in.
Yeah.
Right. So I like to keep what I watch. I want to be informed, but I keep what I watch very heart-centered. And I think about the people who are intuitives that I speak to. Chris, who's seen the future, Chris O'Connor, who was on before, talks about how this world is going to be beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. And other people I've spoken to, and that's what I focus on. I want to focus on loving each other, because here's the thing. When we divide, that's what they want.
Yeah.
So even if, like, I have people in my life who don't believe what I believe, and we honor each other. I don't even talk about politics. I just want to love people for who they are, because I want them to love me for who I am. And who am I to talk down to people because they're not awake yet? I had friends that were awake at 9/11. As soon as those buildings came down, and I had someone tell me that was an inside job, and I told them to go F themselves. And I have since had to go back and apologize. And I said, how lonely had that have been to you for 20 years that you knew what was going on, you saw it all, and no one around you could see it. So I ask people to have compassion, because everyone wakes up at different stages, and some people are not meant to wake up.
Yeah, totally.
That's
agree.
just not, they're going to ascend outside of their body. Yeah. We are ascending so far in our bodies, but that's yet to be told, because we don't know.
Right.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I can put my hand up to being one of those, and Elisa as well, since 9/11. Just in a world of knowing and listening, and we're still here, and we're getting to the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this
and
is
I have news for you. Oh, I'm so sorry, Lori. Go ahead.
That's okay. This is what I would say. What we focus on is what we attract more of. So I try to focus on the fact that everything is love. And We Are Quantum is a fabulous book. And I have been leading a movement, if you will. And Lisa knows, and Liz has heard me say this. It's kind of like The Secret. The Secret became a book, it became a movie, and then became a movement. I believe We Are Quantum has the power to do the same thing. And it's at this time in history where something like this is so needed. So what we have done at Find Your Mentor is created a circle for all 36 authors and Lisa. And I just put in the chat the link to the circle where this movement will continue. We're going to continue interviewing the authors. We're going to provide a platform where people can go in and interact with the authors. And these are the people who are at the forefront. Yet they're normal, ordinary people, right? Very, very approachable. And we're hoping that through our stories and through our love, we can help make this world a better place.
That's fantastic. And then also, not that I'm an astrologer at all by any means, but there's some basket thing happening, Barbo's basket or something, with the convergence of the planets that, well, anyway, I'm not an astrologer, but now is a really important time to be, because the energies are intensified, and I felt it, to be in that space where you're choosing, where do I want to be? Do I want to be creating this beautiful new earth, or do I want to get sucked into the drama that's going on? So right now, I think it goes on till like the 29th, is just such an important time to go to that mirror, actually, and just say, I love myself and I love this world, and be in gratitude for all the wonderful things that are around to assist us.
Yes.
Like, I love
Absolutely.
my Healy. I love my whatever. I thank you so much for the person who invented this. And because that's bringing the frequencies up. Right? So it just brings frequencies up. And that's what the new earth is frequencies. So we're going to be in this higher frequency. And so, like the trees, I love the trees. So I'm just go and I say it out loud, because it's more powerful if you say it out loud, to say, I just love the trees. Thank you for the trees. Thank you for the water. Thank you for this beautiful food I ate today. Thank you for the love. And over 24/7. And you'll see that your world will begin to shift even more dramatically. So,
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
And the more you do that, the more synchronicities you see as well, because there's no such
yes.
thing as coincidence. And it is
True.
absolutely rife in my world for numbers. I can't look at a clock without being certain numbers. It's constant every hour throughout the day. It's just, not again. But I think it is a beautiful thing. And I told my friend this morning, I was outside of my car park, and it's there's not much wildlife out there at all, really. And I just had a thought of someone, and a dragonfly came out, looked at me, hovered in front of me for a few seconds, and flew off. Like that. I look at the clouds for signs. I look at everything. And it's when you do that and you just resonate in love all the time, life gets a lot more comfier as all this shit show carries on.
That's so beautiful. Dragonflies are about transformation.
Yeah.
They're
Wow.
such cool insects. I love that. So your friend and you are transforming, maybe. So that's kind of cool.
That is cool. So I have a call that I have to get on in a few minutes too.
Of course. This was
But
so lovely, Lisa.
It
And so
was.
I'm going to speak for both of us. If you want to do another one of these with some of the other authors that were unable to come, if we want to revisit this, whatever, let's do it, because, this was
there's 36 of us and 36
Yeah.
incredible stories. So yeah, I'd love to do that. That would be fun. And I'm so honored that you had us on, and I love meeting you
you.
guys in person and in New York, and bless you. look forward to seeing you guys again sometime soon.
Yeah,
Oh,
definitely.
yeah.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Liz, for coming on. Thank you, Laurie. Thank you, Lisa, for coming on. And it's a shame Chris didn't get to speak.
I know.
He'll come on next time.
We've
He'll
had
come
a,
on next time.
Yep.
yeah, we've had a few good chats, and it's lovely to meet him in New York.
Yeah.
And we're all going to meet again soon anyway, aren't we? So
Yes.
that'll be wonderful. So,
Yes.
yeah, where we go, one, we go all people. We're getting to the end. We, the people, are rising, and the cabal, whether they're actually gone or there's just a few stragglers left, God wins, we're winning, and everything's going to be okay. Might get a little bit bumpy in the meantime, but just hold on to your hats and pour yourself a glass of wine or whatever, because it's going to be all right.
All right. Thank
Yeah.
you.
All right. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bless
Thank
you.
you, everyone in the chat. Beautiful as always.
Thank you.
All
We'll see you
right.
soon.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.